back when I was driving, I'm in Muskogee, driving our van, a very family-looking van. You know, it was not one of those conversion vans, you know. Now it was a good old Nissan family van, you know. So we're driving the van. I'm driving the van. There's my wife over there, and my two babies in the back, Brooks and Olivia. And we're driving down the street, and I'm drinking my soda. You know where I'm going. And we're listening to whatever we're listening to, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and there's the red light. Woo! I immediately pulled over, and I went into my wallet, and I got my driver's license. And I looked in the side mirror, and the policeman was walking up to the car, unbuckling his gun. So I reached in and got my DHS identification card. So I had my 2 pieces of plastic ready. So when he walked up to the window, he said, driver's license, and I gave him both. He looked at it and said, what's that you're drinking? And I said, Dad's root beer. He said, okay. Oh, you work for the state? Yeah, DHS. Okay. All right, have a good day. Gave me the stuff and walked back to the car. So I drove off in silence, looked in the rearview mirror, saw he had turned around, and I said to my wife, did you see that? Now my wife said, if you hadn't had that DHS card, it would have been some splaining going on for a soda. Now, there's what I call being for real and faux real, F-A-U-X, faux real. You see, you learn in this country, and I'm telling you this because we're brothers and sisters. You learn in this country if you have a tawny skin that it's not always good to be for real, but sometimes you have to be faux real, which is to say, I gave him that DHS identity card so that he would understand, oh yes, upstanding guys, probably have no problem. Yes, sir, officer, sure thing, all right, have a great day, all right. And then I got for real. You see. So I'm saying all of that to say this, that adapting mechanism that you must learn is a survival kind of thing. And all of you all know the stories. You know the stories. You know the stories of being stopped and saying something that you shouldn't have said, which is just to ask a question. Why are you stopping me? That could lead to a whole bunch of stuff. So you wait. You know the Richard Pryor joke? I am reaching into my pocket to get my driver's license. I don't want an accident, you know? And that's what you learn. You learn how to be faux real. You learn how to do that because it's survival. Now, I don't know if my non-black brothers and sisters go through this mechanism, but you are taught this, and I can go on and on and on. How brothers and sisters, moms and dads, sit down with their children and say, you got to know how to act in public. What are they actually saying? So that attention is not brought to you. Because I don't want any accidents where someone says, well, he was a threat. I had to shoot him 15 times. You know? Now, does that mean that black people walk around scared? No, it doesn't mean that at all. It means that we walk around prepared. It's a difference of being prepared and of, oh, I can't go out. No, you just know that when it happens, you're not surprised. Now, here's where the sermon goes. Here's where we're going with the crucial conversations. We have the opportunity out there to look at this thing from the standpoint of science, you know? When you take a picture, you see through the viewfinder what you want to take a picture of. If that's not what you want, you can increase the lens, or you can step back to get a larger perspective. Well, see, that's called parameters. You set the parameters. There is power in setting parameters. You don't have to always have narrow parameters. You can broaden these parameters. When you broaden parameters, you're being inclusive. So you're not leaving things out, and you're not coming to conclusions based upon narrow viewpoints. Your viewpoint is larger, wider, deeper. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying that what happened up there in Cambridge, we had some narrow parameters going on. Some of it has to do with familiarity. We tend to go to the familiar when we're looking through setting up our parameters. Some things we just do for granted, we take for granted, like coming to church, you know? You're coming to church and you're not thinking about what's going to happen at church. You're not thinking about why you even coming to church. You're not thinking about what you want to get from church, your outcomes. You're not thinking like that at all. You say, I'm going to church. But you know, when you get to church, there might be something different. You might see somebody standing up in the pulpit who you haven't seen before, or who you're not used to seeing. You might hear some music that sounds like Michael Jackson. And you say, well, wait a minute, where is that in the hymn book, you know? Or you might hear a sound of a drum that's played with vigor. And you might say, that's not church. But that's a very narrow viewpoint. Your parameter has been narrowed. We have to broaden parameters because you want to be able to say it's more than one right answer. It's more than one right answer. You have the power to say that. So what was going on up in Cambridge in that room was people got real narrow with their viewpoints. We had a policeman who was dealing with authority, that he knew what authority meant. Hey, I know about racial profiling. I teach racial profiling. I have all kind of racial sensitivity. I'm white, and I know about how it feels. Come on, I can do this thing. So he was very sure of himself. That's why he said, show me some more ID. And that's why he said, well, I'm going to call the Harvard Police Department, see what they know about you. Because he felt very sure of himself in that narrow viewpoint of familiarity. On the other hand, our Dr. Henry Louis Gates, who is not an imposing figure, said, I'm a small piece of leather, but I'm well put together. And he said, oh, no, you don't know who you messing with. I am Professor Dr. Henry Louis Gates. You may have heard of me. Bam, Harvard. He was telling this man, you're going to deal with me differently, buddy. And so when the policeman was saying, come on outside, come on outside, come on outside, he said, I'll go outside if your mama's outside. He was playing the dozens. Yes, he was. He was playing the dozens. He was saying, I'm who I am, and you're going to have to deal with me. Why I call that so much familiarity of what they knew, that's about maleness. See, we will get that way. That's maleness. Nobody was moving any parameters here. Nah, you bad? Oh, you don't know bad. So it takes effort to make that parameter broad. It takes effort.